Welcome back to the channel where we are at the beautiful Grove for 5 tee time tips. Play like Tiger Woods. Why would you not want to play like Tiger Woods? 82 wins on the PGA Tour, 15 major championships. He is the man, for me, the greatest ever. So we're going to get out onto the course here. I'm going to need all of his skills because it is really quite windy today. Actually, that's not too bad. We'll take that one. Right, let's get out there. So we're safely aboard the first fairway here. It's blowing really strong off the right-hand side, and we're going to do 5 tee time tips. This is where our first one's going to be, but make sure you stick around because at the end there's going to be a bonus tip, and of course it's Tiger Woods, so it's going to be about the stinger, which of course is a shot we should all have, especially on a day like this. So here, this is what we've got. Let's have a little look. Where we are right here. 120 to the centre, which is where the flag is. Wind's whipping off the right. But we're going to use this to talk about what I think is one of Tiger's greatest skills, a great tee time tip here. We think about the amazing shots he's hit through his career, like the chip in on 16 at Augusta. You think of these magic moments throughout his career. But actually, one of the reasons he was really, really good is because he played aggressively to conservative targets. There's the tee time tip. What does that mean? Well, what it means is actually he took all the pressure off himself because he picked targets that were very manageable, but he was really committed and aggressive towards them. Here's an example. This flag's actually fairly simple, left half of the green, but still nice and safe. I can be aggressive to this flag. If this flag, though, was cut further left in the left corner of the green with the wind whipping off the right-hand side, and I went straight at it, and I miss it just a little bit too much on the wind, I'm in trouble. I'm looking at a 5, maybe worse if I hit a bad chip shot. So what Tiger would do is he'd give himself a bit of a buffer on the safe side of the flag. So for us here, I'm going to err on the side of caution to the right because I know if the wind doesn't move it enough, it's going to go on the green. If it moves it perfect amount, it goes by the hole. And if it moves it too much, it's still going to grab a piece of the green. Whereas if I go straight at it, that's when I can get in trouble because the wind might make it miss to the left too far. So pick a smart target that might not be the flag. That's the tee time tip. But then once you've done that, be really aggressive towards it, fully committed, all in. And that's the Tiger tip. It's blowing hard off the right-hand side, and because it is so windy, rather than hitting something full, I'm gonna chip a little 9-iron. This is really quite tough. Alrighty. There you go. Oh, it's a little bit long back of the green, but I reckon we'll be all right. Okay, so here we are, a little heavy-handed, but again, because I erred on the side of caution, I had all the space, so I've missed my mark, but actually I'm still fine, whereas if I'd missed it to the left, which would have been really easy if I'd have been too aggressive with that flag, then I'm having to up and down it from below the level of the green, so I've given myself half a chance here. That's what Tiger was really, really good at. He'd make it look like he was always shooting at flags, but sometimes when he hit it close, he'd be aiming safe, and he might pull it or push it, but it still goes close. And that's just playing percentages and giving yourself the best chance. It's not bad. This looks tasty. Easy, easy, easy. I'll take that. Goodness me, I'll take that. So I'm gonna have to accept a par. Alrighty, let's move on. Hopefully a birdie at the next. So here's tee time tip number 2, play like Tiger Woods. And that is, have something to lean on that's a go-to when you're uncomfortable. So the wind hard off the right makes me want to offer a little bit. And when I try and offer, I sometimes get a little bit stuck. And the only thing I have in common with Tiger Woods, I sometimes get a little bit stuck on the way down. I wish there was other things, but it's just that, unfortunately. Which, to be fair, is fairly similar for most of us as well. Certainly as you get better, it becomes a real good player's trait if that sometimes, especially when we're trying to hit it hard, the arm's sucking behind the body, and then from here I'm having to try and square it up through strike. And that's what Tiger's done through his career. It gets a little bit stuck behind. And so to combat that, he has a go-to, and that's what this tee time tip is all about. And it's about trying to get the club to come more out in front of me. So how does he do that? Well, let's look how windy it is. The way he does it is quite simple. He tees it down. Why does that help? Well, the higher I tee something up, the more it makes me want to feel this way, to like hit up on it, which is what we do when we're trying to hit the big one. But it's really easy when we're doing that to have that club fall behind us. So Tiger has this go-to of he will simply go from teeing it up like normal, which might look like this, You can see how high I have that compared to my driver. That's me hitting the dome-in drive, the one that I'm trying to hit a country mile down a par 5. If I'm getting a bit intimidated, I'm going to push that down to about this height, which is, again, higher than a 3 would, but you can see most of that golf ball is now hidden by the club head. If I try and feel this way, I'm going to feel like I'm going to ground out. So it's inspiring me to get my club coming more out in front of me, and it's going to feel like I'm going to hit a little squeeze low fade. So in my mind, I'm thinking low shot, bit of fade, which again is all that feel of rotation, arms coming out in front of me, and the lower tee peg is going to force me to do things that are going to help to get away from the thing I'm scared of. So, lovely. That's absolutely perfect. A tiny bit of fade to hold it straight. And something else in common with Tiger, a half decent tee shot. So we're trying to play like him, and we're going to do tee time tip number 3 here. We're going to talk about control of the spin with your wedges. Now granted, I've got a little bit of help here, so controlling the spin's not such a big deal for me. But one of the things, and I remember this actually from another World Golf Championship at Valderrama, Tiger spun it back into the water on the 17th hole there, and it really inspired a time in Tiger's life on that par 5, an iconic par 5, and it happens a lot to guys there. He thought that I need to be better at being able to control how I spin my wedges. He's a high spin player, so how do I get better at that? So how far have I got? 130 front, about 135 to the flag, downhill a little, downwind, but it's freezing cold. So I'm going to guess it's still probably playing in the low 20s. So I'm going to take a pitching wedge, and I'm going to use this as an example. So this is a gap wedge distance, hard gap wedge. And to be fair, if it was warmer, that's what I'd be hitting at my 52 degree. But instead we're going to use a pitching wedge. And so this is what Tiger did. In terms of controlling spin, if you're someone who spins the ball a lot, or you want to spin it the most, good firm hit from the fairway is going to have the most amount of spin on it. If I'm trying to take spin off the ball, one way to do it is to take pace off it, but not by making my normal swing and then trying to slow down to strike, because you will always overdo it. Everyone overdoes it, even professional golfers. If you try and slow down, we always do too much, because to be fair, to take a little bit off it and to take a little bit of the spin and a little bit of the distance, which I'm trying to do here, it's only a couple of miles an hour. That is such a tiny amount, and if I try and slow down, inevitably it's more than a couple of miles an hour. So what I prefer to do is a slightly shorter swing, and then obviously I will keep it smooth, but it has to still have the acceleration. What you won't see is the big swing and then that sort of lethargic move down. It's still going to have pace to it, it just won't be full tilt. In your mind, picture it as either, is it 100%, 95%, 90%, rather than normal swing and slow down. So if I'm thinking of this one, I'm thinking it's a 90% wedge. So I'm going to go 90% distance in terms of my backswing, and I'm going to go 90% pace, but it's still going to have acceleration. And that way we're going to take a touch of the spin off, but at the same time, we're not going to be under hitting it, because I still need it to get there. Lovely. Now whether I've judged it is a different thing. That needs to get down. Oh no, it's good. It's settled. The wind nudged it across a little bit too much. It's finished left of the hole, but a really good job of judging the distance there. So Tiger would always give himself like permission. And he talked about speed, and he said the downhillers, obviously I'm always just trying to die him into the front of the hole, but the uphillers, he'd give himself permission to have a go. But it's worth actually, it's a nice little tee time tip in the middle here, is what range you can be aggressive from. So Tiger would say inside 15 feet he's going to make his fair share. So he'd accept that. Okay, I feel like, especially on bumpy greens, if I try and just dribble it in, it's going to wobble off. The likelihood is it's going to miss. So I'm going to make my fair share inside 15 feet, certainly inside 10 feet. So I'm going to accept that sometimes if I'm being aggressive, I'm going to have to make it from 2 feet beyond, because I'm going to roll at the hole to try and make it. And it's worth that, because I'm going to make my fair share putting like that, and I'm rarely going to miss one of them. For every one of them I miss, I'm going to make 3 of these. So worth being aggressive. This distance, less so. So as much as still an uphill putt, less aggressive, because I'm not going to make many of these. I'm going to 2-putt most of these. So if I knock it 2 feet, 3 feet by every time, I'm also going to miss the odd one of them. So it's not worth it. So you can see how, depending on the challenge of what you have and how short the putt is, depends on how aggressive you're going to be. So not all putts are the same. So that whole sort of just roll it 2 feet past from every distance, actually not great advice. From here, 2 putts is the norm. What I don't want is 3. So I'm going to try and dial my spin in, so if it falls in, it's just going to fall in the front door. but I'm fully aware it's fairly slow. Pretty good for the distance. I had a couple of little hops on the way up there, but I'll take it. It's no birdie, but it wasn't really a birdie range, so par. I know you're waiting for Tiger Woods fireworks, but I promise it's happening on the next hole, so stick with me. Okay, our final hole, play like Tiger Woods, and it's a tough one to be fair. Stroke 1, 450 yards pretty much. These sort of conditions as well, it's going to play every single bit of it. Let's have a little look on here. Here we go, so 443 to the centre. Yeah, so the bunker on the left side, oh yeah, 280 over the first one. In this weather, probably not happening. So I need to be just to the right of those bunkers. And we'll talk a little bit about one of the things that Tiger was, because there's so many power players in the game now. And whilst Tiger, at the age that he is, isn't as long as he once was, still pretty long considering he's nudging on for playing Champions Tour golf, and he was one of the longest hitters in his time with John Daly when he was in his absolute prime. And one of the reasons for it is how well he uses the ground. So, and this is a classic example of how we use the ground to generate speed. So as much as we hold on to the golf club with our hands, just swinging our arms fast will generate speed, but we can add more speed to our arms by using our lower half well. And that is simply for us going to be feeling like we start our downswing by using the ground first. So we're going to feel like as I'm finishing my backswing, I'm going to feel like I'm starting to push on a pedal that's underneath my left foot. I'm going to feel like there's a pedal underneath, a pressure plate underneath my left foot. And as I'm finishing, not when I've finished, as I'm finishing my backswing, so almost to me it's going to feel from halfway back, I'm going to feel like I'm starting to press down. And what that does effectively, it creates that torque in the swing where that coil of my upper body's working back whilst my lower body is creating this tension, which then when it unloads, it's got way more force in it. It's just having what we would call a good kinematic sequence, which means that the right thing's firing in the right order, and it's the lower half that starts coming towards the target before the upper half. And Tiger, you can't hit it a long way like he does without doing that. So, right, wind's a little bit off the left as well. All right. Nudge it, wind. Nudge it a little. I think it should be all right. Pretty close that bunker, but we should be fine. Okay, so I've been quite lucky to stop short of the bunker. It dipped a little out the sky, maybe hit it a touch high in the face, which has just knocked some of the spin off, which I'm grateful for because I'd rather be here than in the bunker. How far have we got? I mean, I want to finish with a birdie for you, but I mean, it's quite a hard hole because I feel like Tiger would shoot under for 3 holes. So I feel like I'm letting the team down if I don't get this down in 2. Let's have a little look. 186 to the middle, oh my God. Let's have a little look up at the green what it's like, because I know it's further, yeah, goodness me. It's going to be like 190, but then I've got a little bit of help, but it's more off the left. It really does feel quite a lot of wind down. I feel like I should hit 5 because it's cold, but there is help there, although the clouds are telling me something different. I'm going to go with the 6, and I'm going to be committed to it though, but I can hit it full and with real commitment. So with that wind nudging it, I've got to almost set it out just on the edge of the bunker on the left, and then it'll let it do its thing. Oh, hit it, wind. Hit it, wind. Oh, I think that's got caught by the bunker. It just dropped out the sky a little bit. It wasn't terrible for distance. I pulled it a little. I mean, I was trying to aim it at this left edge. I pulled it a little, and it didn't have a lot of spin on it. Slightly mishit it out the rough. So it sort of dropped, it didn't move on the wind. But at least I've got a ton of space. Bit of an upslope. My concern here is if I use a 60, it's going to be really hard to get it all the way back to the hole because I'm on an upslope, so 60 becomes more like 65. Otherwise, I've started leaning into it, and I don't really want to do that. It makes the strike a bit more compromised. So I'm going to go to 56. Nothing in the rules says you have to use your most lofted club out of the bunker. Yeah, this is all right. And so 56 immediately, it's easier for me to get it back to the hole. I'll have to get it up and down because obviously Tiger would not play 3 holes in 1 over. Unless the message here is that I'm not Tiger Woods, but that can't be right. Okay. Hey? Tiger who? Play like Nick Doherty, more like. Well, there you have it. That sort of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Do you see how easy I hit that? Is that it was just much easier with a 56 degree. And I think, you know, as a little bonus here for how Tiger would play it, he was never afraid with any short game shot to work through his bag. For most of us, we need the easy option. And for me there, 60 degree was a way harder option. I'd like to think that the great golfers, as much as they can play it with pretty much any club in the bag, they will always choose the easiest option as well. And for me, seeing what's provided for you, off and upslope in a bunker with distance to cover, if it can come out with less loft, like a 56 or a 52, take advantage. So, I mean, I've not covered myself in glory on this par 4, but, you know, Tiger would be proud of me, I think, making a good solid up and down. It's stroke 1 after all. Right, here's your last little tee time tip, play like Tiger Woods. We'll do a putting one. One of Tiger's favourite drills. Now, granted, he'd do this on the putting green. A great one to work out and trying to get centre strike. Because as much as, yes, of course, we want to make sure that we're aiming the right way, that's really important. And there's loads of things to work on with our stroke. We also want to make sure that we strike the ball in the middle of the club head. And this is a great way of doing it. It's a gate drill, effectively. So I've put 2 tees there, which are just a little bit wider than the width of my club head. And what it ensures is, when I'm putting, that the putter has to swing through that gate to hit the ball. If it's off centre, I'm obviously going to clip the tee peg, depending on which way I come into it. It sort of forces my path to be remotely decent, and it also means that I've got to strike it in the middle of the face to get through the middle of that gate. And obviously the better you get, the more penal you can be, where you can barely fit your club head through the gap. And if you get to that point, then you know you're on a winner. If you're striking it in the middle of the club head all the time, as much as we know that's important with the driver, also important with your putter, especially if you haven't got the benefit of the sort of clubs that I use. Obviously with Spiders, you've got great game improvement in terms of margin for error and miss hits, but still it makes a difference in how the ball rolls, striking it in the dead center of the club. So little gate drill before you go out and play is a great way to work on making sure you're striking it in the middle of the blade each and every time, which of course I did. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that's not really like Tiger Woods. I expected way more fireworks. I thought he'd maybe hole a couple of shots from the fairway, but I'm not Tiger Woods. But I'm using some of the wisdom that made him one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, to try and take it to tee time tips, help make your game a little less complicated and a lot more fun. We're not done yet. There's a bonus tip. I promised you, the stinger. Here it is. Everyone copies it, but no one quite does it like Tiger. Let's hit the stinger. You'll see a lot of people tee it down really low. You can do, but what I'd say is on the big-headed drivers that we have now, if you tee it really low, you're going to hit it low on the face, which is going to increase spin. And yes, it will launch it low, but we don't really want spin. So if we're hitting a stinger, it's because it's back into the wind. And if we're going into the wind, spin is not really our friend. We want a low spin shot. So I'd still tee it so that we can catch it right in the meat of the golf club still. How are we going to lower the flight? So here's some of the things we're going to do. We're going to play the ball a little bit further back in our stance. So if we stand like this normally for our driver, I'm going to move it at least 2 balls further back. Even 3 if you really want to go to town, but I'm going to leave my hands in the same place. You can see what it's done with the shaft. It's lent the shaft forward here, yeah? And what I'm going to feel from this is I'm going to stand ever so slightly open, because the thing is, when you move the ball back in your stance, golf's a circle, and obviously if you hit it earlier in the circle, the face is pointing to the right hand side. So the later you hit it in the circle, face is now pointing to the left hand side. So if I move the ball back in the stance, the face is aiming right, so I have to slightly nudge around with where I aim to make sure it's aiming straight, yeah? So ball back in stance, feel like you stand slightly open. If you want to make it simpler for yourself, just feel like you give yourself a bit of room, which is not a bad feeling at all. And then what I'm going to feel with this is that I'm going to feel as I hit this, it's like a punch shot. So I'm going to feel like I chase it with my right pec, with my chest. I'm going to chase it through almost to the sensation that if I wanted to, I could walk after it and admire it as it's going down the fairway. And what this is going to help me do is, rather than have that feeling of being back here and releasing, I'm going to feel like I chase it through And I'm actually going to feel a bit more Tommy Fleetwoodish on the way through, so shorter arm swing, which is going to give me that sensation of the punch shot. And when you put all of that together, you get your Tiger Woods stinger shot. Cool. I should hit that off the tee just for normal. That's the end of our Play Like Tiger Woods. I hope you've liked it. Please like, subscribe, let us know what you think in the comments. Did I actually do it? And we look forward to seeing you next time.